Dynamics are in operation whether we acknowledge and understand them or not. Did you get that? I want to give you just an example. All over the world, as we have taught on dynamics, people would say, help me out. And I'd say, well, let's talk about it. How about forgiveness? If we make forgiveness a regulation and a compliance, then how do we look at religious things? We, in reality, humanity considers religious things to be optional. I decide if I want to do them or if I don't want to do them. And if I don't, there's really not much consequence. Maybe in eternity or somewhere out there, but there certainly isn't that much of a consequence now. Dynamics are different than regulation and compliance and religious laws made to monitor and judge our conduct. Dynamics perform their results and achieve their outcomes no matter what we do. It is by design. All over the world, all in Central Asia to Africa to all over, I would ask people, do you know somebody who has lived with gross unforgiveness? If you do, raise your hand. And I would say 2/3 of every group that we spoke to would raise their hands. And I would ask the question, I would say, well, what happens to those people who live with unforgiveness, who refuse to give? And invariably it would come back. They get sick. Their spirits, their minds, and their bodies become sick. They become unable to cope with life. And more often than not, they actually die, miserable and unhappy because they didn't forgive. That is not an outcome of regulation and compliance. That is a result of a dynamic. Forgiveness is a dynamic. Forgiveness is not optional. God has declared, you must forgive to be forgiven. He has said, as we forgive, then He forgives us. Forgiveness is a dynamic. And when we choose not to forgive, we choose the outcome that comes with not forgiving.